All right, folks, we've got our good friend Wayne Thompson, who we've had on the show before. And Wayne is in Fort Bend County, and he's running for office there. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But since Wayne is involved in law enforcement, I wanted to reach out to him and talk to him about two things. First of all, how this issue in San Bernardino was handled, and how he saw it, particularly when some people were afraid of being accused of racial profiling. Wayne, welcome to the show. Talk to us.
Thank you so much for having me back on your show as a returning guest. And first and foremost, of course, I extend my condolences to all those who have lost a loved one in those attacks and in the Paris attacks, and then have injured and wounded family members. What a tragic situation, and I think you bring up a good point and a good question. As far as the law enforcement aspect, I believe that they absolutely, the police did exactly as they were trained. They acted quickly and efficiently. Unfortunately, in this day and age, with the political scene and the political correctness, PC, as one might say, I think we have nullified the public, or scared the public into a situation where they're afraid to bring up suspicious acts, which we are finding out was the case in this instance. So, we have a situation where someone's afraid of saying something that will make them look bad, maybe against another religion or color or creed. And now we've gotten ourselves into a very dangerous position where those people did not speak out, they did not speak up, and did not report suspicious activity that should have been reported. So it's absolutely a problem.
Again, what's the point of having crime watchers, neighborhood programs? If we're afraid nowadays to say anything because of social repercussions.
Right. Yeah, and this is a prime example of that. We go back to the instance where the juvenile had brought a device that looked like a bomb to school, and as it turns out, it was a clock. But, those actions were taken by law enforcement and school administrators, and now, they're looking at lawsuits and other issues. And it's a sad state when we've gotten to the point that we are afraid to take a stand for what's right, report suspicious activity. It is just a bad situation all around, and this had tragic results in California, unfortunately.
And with the climate right now, with organizations like Black Lives Matter that really vilify law enforcement, how difficult is it for you to do your job?
Yeah, it's becoming more and more difficult, and I think this question almost comes up in every radio and TV interview that I do. Law enforcement is a tough profession. Military, any public servant is in a tough job, but law enforcement is particularly in a time where, it's low pay, the benefits are mediocre. Young people are looking at career paths, and they see the scrutiny that we're under, constant media scrutiny, community scrutiny, and granted, we should be closely watched. We're there to serve the public, but it's gotten to a point where I believe officers, number one, people don't want to be in law enforcement anymore. Number two, officers are hesitant to take action for fear of repercussions of either hurting somebody's feelings or ending up on the news. And I'd venture to say that that's what the enemy wants. They want to get us to a point where we are indifferent. We are too afraid to take a stand, and that's really how evil succeeds.
That's right. That's exactly right. Let me ask you another question, because as soon as this issue broke of another shooting, immediately the mainstream media, the leftist politicians, immediately, instead of talking about the issue of possible terrorism, which it turned out to be, they said that it was too many guns. As a law enforcement officer, what is your thinking about that?
Well, of course, as a law enforcement officer and a military veteran, I am a firm supporter of the people's rights to bear and carry arms for their own protection or for hunting or for whatever reason. They have that right. They have that right as dictated in the Second Amendment, and I fully support that. The only thing that stops bad guys with guns is good guys with guns, and you're exactly right. The leftists use this as an agenda, saying that it's a gun problem, and it's not. It's a people problem, and I'll go a step further. It's actually a heart problem. It's where somebody's heart is, and an evil heart's going to do evil, and if they don't do it with a gun, sir, they're going to do it with a knife, and if they don't do it with a knife, they're going to use a car or a club, and if they can't use any of those things, they'll use their hands. It's find their way to get it done, and the only thing that we have to stop this is our military, our civilian law enforcement, and our armed good guys, our armed citizens that are legally owning and carrying weapons to protect those. And, I call those the sheepdogs. I didn't coin that phrase, but we have to have that. This is not a gun problem. It's a people problem. And unfortunately, evil, whether it's terrorists or somebody that just got fired from their job, is going to go out, and the only thing that's going to stop that is somebody that is trained in carrying guns. So I want good guys to have guns. It's not a gun problem. Guns don't kill people. People kill people, and that's just the fact of it.
Well, you got it. Wayne, tell us about how's your campaign coming along?
Well, we're doing great. Thanks for asking. We've had a lot of momentum. We are fortunate and blessed. I think this is now the 14th or 15th radio show I've been on. 2 national cable news shows, national podcast. We average about 2,000 visitors to the website every month, and for a local constable race, that's huge. We've been very blessed. I'm endorsed by police chief, city council, local magazines, and just really good. And I think that in this day and age, people really need to take a look at who their elected law enforcement officials are, whether that's a sheriff or a constable or a marshal, whatever your area or state has, and ask the hard questions. Find out where they stand on terrorism. Find out where they stand on illegal immigration, and find out where they stand on citizens and guns and their right to bear arms. Those are the hard questions that need to be asked, because we've got some tough years ahead of us, and your first line of defense is going to be those citizens, and then your local law enforcement.
That's amazing, because one of the things that we've reported here on our show, and we even invited her, was we've invited the sheriff of Dallas County, who is very, very vocal about her support for a sanctuary city, a sanctuary community, and not working with the federal government on illegal aliens. How important is it for people to understand where their elected officials are coming from, their local elected officials? Never mind what they see on Fox News that's going on in D.C. What about the stuff that's happening with their local elected officials, their local law enforcement folks right there? How important is that?
Oh, very, very important. You're everywhere up from your precinct chairs, your city council, your school boards, and then into your elected law enforcement and even your state senators and representatives. That's your connection as a citizen to government. And those people you elected to do a job and represent you, whether it's law enforcement or legislative or whichever branch that it falls under. And I fear that we get used to electing the same people over and over again for long periods of time. They become stagnant. They stop listening to their constituents. And I think that's what gets us into a lot of these situations. We have career politicians who really don't pick. Now, there's plenty of good ones, but you've got to be in touch with your local elected officials. If you're not, they are going to do whatever they think is best, and we didn't really elect them for that. We elected them to represent us and what we think is best. The mess with the sanctuary cities, I think we can all agree that America is a welcoming and open place. You know, we were founded by people that came over and immigrated here, and even my great-grandparents were legal immigrants into the United States, and so we need to maintain that, but we need to have a route that is attainable and affordable for those people, you know, and let them come to our society and welcome them. Those who come illegally, you know, they need to be dealt with in a manner of someone who has broken the law, and they have. And the sanctuary city, we see that doesn't work. We've seen murders, rapes, drunk driving, other things, numerous places where they've tried this, and it doesn't work. I mean, that's saying we're going to harbor illegals. We're going to harbor people that have broken the law. Those folks need to get those people out of office. They need to vote them out. Your city or county is going to implode.
You got it. I mean, there's no two ways around it. You don't reward bad behavior. I mean, the dog whisperer tells you that you don't reward bad behavior.
That's exactly right. You know, if you want a new car, and we all go by the car lots, and if you want a new car, you don't just get to walk on the car lot and take it. There's a process. You know, you got to get approved. You got to have the financing, and then you leave with that car. If you don't meet that process, you don't get to leave with that car, and you don't just get to simply take it if you want it. So the same thing applies for citizenship.
I'm kind of curious because I know of your military background a little bit, but how the heck did you get into law enforcement? What encouraged you to get into law enforcement?
Well, after my military service, I really felt like the next best way, I consider myself a servant, period, and I have what I think is the heart of a servant, and you know, I feel like one of the best ways I can serve my community was through law enforcement, firefighting, and EMS, and I've had a total of 23 years now of all of those, and you know, I just felt like that's where I could be a servant to people and using my skills and knowledge. And I recognize that there are many other jobs and professions, you know, teachers, pastors, so many others out there that are just as important. This was just my way of utilizing my skills to serve and to give back. And that's why I got into it. You know, there is an element of excitement for sure. You can't take that away from fire and police and EMS, but there's also an element of great satisfaction when you're able to help somebody when their life is at its worst. You know, nobody calls 911 to tell us they're having a great day. Something is usually going completely wrong, and that's where we get to show up, and I get to show up and try to make somebody's day better, whether it's helping someone that's hurt or helping someone that's been a victim of a crime, or maybe even preventing a crime, and that's why I got into it.
My limited involvement with law enforcement was when I was working at the Justice Department and with community relations, and I used to ride along with police officers both in D.C. and in local jurisdictions all over the country, as well as riding along with the Border Patrol. And I tell you, there were moments when, you know, it was dead and boring, and then there was moments when, you know, the adrenaline was just running in overdrive. How difficult is it to explain to people, you know, that you know, sometimes it's just very difficult, particularly when you go to a family disturbance, of calming people down. I mean, you got to be a psychiatrist sometimes, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think being a police officer covers several job fields. You know, you're a psychologist, a psychiatrist, you're part medic, you're part counselor, you're part, you know, just numerous things, you know, and there is we definitely see many people when their life is at their worst. You know, we don't see a lot of good, unfortunately, and so that definitely takes its toll. It's taking its toll on me, and I know it does on my other brothers and sisters, as well as our military. You know, any of those people that are in those job fields are faced with situations that, quite frankly, nobody will ever fully understand unless they've been there. And, you know, even when I try to describe it to my family, you know, you can get close, but you can't really tell them or show them all the things that you've seen and heard and smelled and felt. It just is overwhelming sometimes, and God bless all those people, military and public servants and their spouses and families who stand behind them as they go out and do the work they do. It's a humbling and honorable career field, and I'm glad we have good men and women that do it.
You got it. Well, once again, tell folks how they can get a hold of your website and support you, because I certainly support your campaign.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. The best way is, number one, visit the website, which is www.votewaynethompson.com. And from the website, you can email me. You can hook up into any of our social media, Twitter or Facebook, and that's always greatly appreciated. And even though I'm in a local race, I've received donations from out of state just because people have been tracking me and heard radio shows or TV or Facebook. And so even though you may not be able to vote for me, you may have a family member or friend that can, and if not, then maybe you feel compelled to donate to somebody. Look over my material. I'm the only candidate that I am aware of that puts their personal cell phone number, so anyone can call me at any time. And I don't think you see that from candidates or elected officials, and I think you should. And so you can contact me via phone, email, website, Facebook, or Twitter, and thank you so much for allowing me to get that information out there.
You got it. Thanks a lot, buddy, and we will get you back on the show sometime soon, all right?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That was Wayne Thompson, who is running for constable, Precinct 3 in Fort Bend County, shedding a little bit of light on the challenges for being a law enforcement officer in local jurisdictions in today's environment, when we have a president that absolutely does not respect law enforcement, when he is blatantly allowing possible terrorists, and I'll use that phrase, possible terrorists, to resettle in our communities, when he's not protecting the border. I mean, protection of local communities falls on local law enforcement as well as the individuals. We have to protect ourselves. There's no two ways around it. So, they want to take away the heavy equipment from the police departments, and it was seen that they used that heavy equipment in trying to getting to the bottom of what happened in San Bernardino. They are trying to take away our guns. It's a strange, anti-American, anti-constitutional president that we have in administration. We desperately must fight back, my friends. Absolutely fight back. And the best way is to kick out every single Democrat, and then we'll sort out all the rhinos. But let's start with kicking out every single Democrat. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back with more news and commentary. George Rodriguez talking to you from San Antonio, deep in the heart of South Texas. Don't go away.